Welcome to Kindred Church. We believe God has called us to this time and this place and this specific community for a reason, to build something new together. It's our dream to see the places we work, eat, play, and live transformed by the grace of Jesus. And we believe He does some of His best work in us and in the world around us through relationships. Our relationship with God, with our families, with the couple a few doors down, with our kids' school teachers, with the owner of our favorite happy hour spot. These are the people we belong to. We're about connection, community, care. Here at Kindred, we have been forming this church around some mantras about some stuff that's really important to us. And we keep saying we belong to God and we belong to each other. And I really believe this. Each one of us, God created us on purpose. We are who we are because He wanted us in this world. And as we follow Him, as we get to know Him better, we start to realize that we are also made for community. We were made to follow Him, to be discipled, to discover more of who Jesus is together. We look at verses like in Romans 12 where it says that each of us have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. And that word grace really just means a cause of joy and thankfulness. And I see that in the people, my family, my friends, the people that I'm walking arms with and chasing after Jesus with together, that we are a source of joy, a source to be thankful for as we chase after God.
The time we spend together will be focused on two things. The first is just getting to know God better. And we do that by opening up His Word and discovering what God really had intended for us and trying to understand Him just a little bit more than we do now. And the second thing would be community, which is getting to know each other a little bit better.
We believe that God has given you a unique gifting that contributes to the body of Christ. And we would love to invite you to join us on this journey that we're going on together that we're calling Kindred Church.
Our hope is that what you find here at Kindred doesn't stay here, but that it takes root in your heart and in your home and branches out to reach extended families, entire neighborhoods, and whole communities. Kindred Church, we belong to God and we belong to each other.